The Triarch expanse had never known true fear. For 10,000 cycles its alien fleets ruled the star lanes with absolute certainty. Their armadas gliding between systems like divine verdicts made of steel and plasma. Every species they encountered learned the same lesson. Resistance was inefficient, and surrender was survival. On the edge of the broken heliobelt, the combined fleets of the Varkon Dominion, the Scioti Concord, and the Kreshive gathered in overwhelming force. Millions of war vessels hung in formation. Their commanders shared tactical data with the calm arrogance of victors waiting for formalities to end. The target was insignificant. A minor world with outdated defenses. Its inhabitants had sent a single broadcast pleading for aid. The message had been intercepted and mocked. No power in the region was foolish enough to challenge the Triarch fleets. Then the long-range sensors began to scream. At first it was dismissed as interference from the Helia debris field, but the readings grew stronger, a gravitational distortion unlike any known drive signature. It was not a fleet, it was singular, massive, and approaching at a velocity that defied established physics. Commanders demanded visual confirmation. Holographic displays flickered and resolved into a shape emerging from folded space. A shape so vast it eclipsed nearby stars. Its hull was dark and angular, layered like a fortress stacked upon itself. Glowing lines traced its surface like restrained lightning. No known faction claimed such a design. No registry matched its mass. And most unsettling of all, it arrived alone. The alien fleets hesitated. A sensation unfamiliar and deeply uncomfortable. Weapons locked on target, but no firing order was given. The warship did not maneuver defensively. It simply drifted forward, indifferent to the millions of guns aimed at it. A transmission burst. Across all channels, raw and unencrypted, a human voice echoed through alien command bridges. Calm and steady. This is the human warship, Resolute Dawn. You are occupying protected space. Withdraw immediately. The translator struggled for a moment. Then the meaning settled like a chill through every fleet. Protected space was a term only empires used. Laughter broke out among several commanders. One ship against a galaxy of firepower was absurd. Yet unease lingered, because the human vessel had not postured or threatened. It had stated a fact. The Resolute Dawn continued its advance, and the stars themselves seemed to dim around it. Asterisks, the first volleys were meant to be symbolic, a demonstration to force the lone ship to retreat. Energy lances and kinetic slugs crossed the void in brilliant arcs, enough firepower to shatter moons. They struck the human warship and vanished, not deflected, not absorbed with visible shields, simply gone, swallowed by a distortion hugging the hull like invisible armor. The alien commanders fell silent as their weapons telemetry returned impossible data. More weapons fired. Coordination increased. The Triarch fleets unleashed a barrage worthy of legends. Yet the Resolute Dawn remained unchanged. Its hull unmarred. Internal scans from nearby vessels began to fail. Sensor ghosts multiplied. Distances became unreliable. Some ships reported the human warship was closer than it appeared. Others claimed it was farther away. Reality itself seemed uncertain near the vessel. The human ship finally responded, not with weapons, but with another transmission. We will not repeat this warning. There was no anger in the voice, no urgency, only finality. A Celti dread carrier attempted a flanking maneuver. Its engines flared as it jumped to attack position. The moment it exited warp, space folded inward. The carrier was compressed into a sphere of light, and then nothing. No debris, no explosion. It simply ceased to exist. Panic rippled through the fleets. Formations broke as captains demanded explanations their scientists could not give. The human warship had not fired a visible weapon, yet an entire capital ship was erased. Strategic councils dissolved into shouted arguments. Doctrines written over millennia crumbled in seconds, because none of them accounted for a foe that ignored the rules of engagement and physics alike. The Resolute Dawn slowed, as if allowing the aliens time to comprehend what they faced. Its hull lights shifted subtly, like a predator adjusting its stance. Another transmission followed. This system is under human protection. Disengaged now. For the first time in their history, the Triarch fleets considered retreat, not because they were losing, but because they did not understand how to fight. Fear had entered the equation, and it spread faster than any weapon. The Kreshive, bound by instinct and pride, refused to withdraw. Their collective mind calculated only dominance or extinction. Thousands of their vessels surged forward in a coordinated assault, biological holes screaming through space. The human warship responded at last. Panels along the Resolute Dawn opened, revealing structures that bent light around them. A low hum vibrated through the vacuum, felt rather than heard. Space ahead of the ship fractured into layered geometries. Beam lanced outward, not bright but dark, a corridor of absence cutting through the Krez formation. Ships caught within it unraveled at the atomic level, matter separating into energy and then fading into nothing. Entire swarms vanished in seconds. The hive mind reeled as feedback cascaded through its network. Confusion turned to agony, then to raw terror. Secondary systems activated. The human vessel launched autonomous constructs, angular drones moving with unsettling intelligence. They did not chase targets, they anticipated them, intercepting escape vectors before they were chosen. Alien commanders watched as their fleets were dissected with surgical precision. The human warship conserved motion and force. Every action deliberate, every strike decisive. Attempts to communicate surrender overlapped chaotically across channels. Speeches that once sneered at diplomacy now begged for it. The resolute Dawn ceased fire as suddenly as it had begun. Debris fields drifted where proud armadas once stood. Silence returned, heavier than before. A final message echoed across the void. Withdraw and do not return. Humanity will remember this choice. The surviving alien vessels fled. Engines pushed beyond safety limits. Formations abandoned. Hierarchies forgotten. The terror of the unknown driving them away faster than any pursuit could. Behind them, the human warship remained, a solitary sentinel against the stars. Asterisk news of the encounter spread faster than any official record. Traders whispered of fleets breaking without a fight, of a single human ship rewriting the balance of power. Empires that had never acknowledged humanity now scrambled to learn everything about them, their history, their technology, their limits. But the data was fragmented, intentionally so. Recovered sensor logs showed the same impossible readings, weapons that did not exist within known frameworks, defenses that rendered firepower irrelevant, and a philosophy of war that favored restraint until absolutely necessary. The most disturbing revelation was not the power of the resolute Dawn, but its age records suggested it was not a prototype, but a patrol vessel, one of many. Alien strategists realized with dawning horror that if this was a single human warship, then a human fleet would be catastrophic beyond comprehension. Borders were redrawn, invasions cancelled, and long-standing wars abruptly ended. No one wanted to risk drawing humanity's attention. From that day forward, human space was marked differently on star charts. Not with warnings, but with respect. Asterisk, on the protected world below, as people watched the distant star where the battle had occurred, unaware of how close extinction had come. They would later learn that humanity asked for nothing in return. The resolute Dawn departed quietly, slipping back into folded space. Its mission complete. Another line held, another boundary enforced. Among alien cultures, new myths emerged, of humans as calm wardens of chaos, of ships that carried judgment rather than conquest. And whenever fleets gathered and ambitions grew too bold, someone would remember the moment a human warship appeared, and the galaxy itself seemed to recoil in fear. Because it was not the firepower that broke the alien fleets that day. It was the realization that humanity had mastered restraint, and that restraint was backed by unstoppable force.